Bring Me the Horizon. Now, I first discovered Bring Me the Horizon in kind of an interesting way. I first discovered them through a completely and vastly different artist, an artist who you probably wouldn't expect, an artist who I've previously mentioned and talked about earlier in the series. Skrillex. Yeah, Skrillex. You see, Skrillex used to do these remixes of other songs from other artists and bands. He used to do that back in the day quite a lot. And one time he did a remix of This Sadness Will Never End by Bring Me the Horizon. Now, usually with these Skrillex remixes, I rarely ever want to actually hear more from the specific artist or band that he's remixing. Like, I rarely ever want to hear any more from them or of them. But in this case, I did. Once I heard this song, I instantly fell in love with them and their sound. I instantly loved them. You know, from what I could hear in the remix, they were very my kind of shit. You know, very metally, very screamo, very 2000s angsty emo type of shit. And that was the kind of shit I loved back then, and I still do kind of this to this day. But yeah, I love that kind of shit, and once I heard this song, I wanted to hear more of it. So afterwards, I looked them up and started listening to more of their music and kind of fell down a Bring Me the Horizon rabbit hole and, you know, and started becoming a, a kind of decently sized fan of theirs. And yeah. And one specific thing that I really love about them is how much they changed and evolved over the years. Like, one way they've changed and evolved is mixing other genres and sounds and styles of music into their music. And another way is with their many, 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 many collabs with other artists and bands. Like, some artists and bands that you wouldn't even expect. Like Ed Sheeran. Yeah. And Halsey and Youngblood and Grimes and Baby Metal. Well, maybe that one you might expect. But yeah, they've collabed with so many different artists and bands, and yeah, and it's just another way they've, changed and evolved so much throughout the years. But yet, with all these, changes in it and all the evolution they've had over the years, they still somehow maintained their soul. They've still somehow maintained their who they are. They haven't completely lost themselves or changed so much that you don't even recognize them anymore, like some artists. And yeah. And honestly, I know I said this with Skrillex, how Skrillex was the like the Digimon of the music world. You know how much he changes all the time, and half the time you don't even recognize who he is anymore. He doesn't even seem like the same artist anymore. You know, but Bring Me the Horizon is kind of like the Pokemon of the music world. You know, because with Pokemon it's different. Yes, they change and evolve. You know, they change their physical appearance and everything, and they gain new powers and abilities and types, and you know, they evolve, and they are vastly different than what they used to be. But usually they still maintain, you know, their personality, their soul, if you will. And that's just like Me the Horizon. They're just like that. They've changed so much, they've evolved so much over the years, but yet they still maintain, you know, who they are, their personality, their soul, their what makes them Bring Me the Horizon. And yeah, and I love that about them, you know, and it makes them an amazing band. But yeah.